Hello students, welcome to the discussion on Economic Survey 2020-21. As part of the discussion on Economic Survey 2020-21 is concerned, we have been discussing about the ideas of the Economic Survey which have been enshrined in the volume 1 of the Economic Survey. So as part of the ideas of Economic Survey, we have already discussed about the first idea which says something about saving lives and livelihoods amidst once in a century crisis. Then the second idea was, does growth lead to debt sustainability? Yes, but not vice versa. Then third idea of economic survey was, does the fundamentals of the economy reflects the sovereign rating of the India? No. So these are the three ideas we have discussed as part of the economic survey volume number 1. Today, in this particular class, we are going to discuss about the fourth idea, which is known as inequality and growth, conflict or convergence. So this is the heading given as part of the economic survey idea number 4. Now, according to, if I can interpret this particular heading, what it is being said as, so there is something called growth and there is something called poverty and there is something called inequality. Now, as far as the growth is concerned, growth is said to be one of the major concerns of any particular economy. And growth is said to be one of the major concerns of whether it is a developing nation, whether it is a developed nation. Now, since our independent India has been trying to get this particular growth. Sometimes we wanted rapid economic growth. Sometimes we wanted stable economic growth. Sometimes we wanted distributive economic growth. Sometimes we wanted growth with social justice. Sometimes we wanted inclusive growth. Sometimes we wanted sustainable growth. Now, growth is said to be one of the central aspects and one of the central concepts of any particular economic development. That means without growth, development is not possible. Now, what economic survey is saying that whether this growth is leading to reduction of the poverty or reduction of the inequality. So, is it the conflict or convergence? So, whether this particular increase in growth is leading to the reduction in the poverty or reduction in the inequality, and it is also suggesting that what is the impact of growth on socio-economic outcomes? What is the impact of the growth on socio-economic outcomes? What are the socio-economic outcomes? Socio-economic outcomes are nothing but education, health, and standard of living, which is also nothing but the life expectancy at birth. So what could be the impact of the increase in growth as far as the education is concerned, as far as the health is concerned, as far as the life expectancy at birth is concerned, as far as the per capita income is concerned? Because when per capita income is also increased, then we can say that there is a better standard of living in a particular economy. Now, whether this per capita income is being resulted because of the growth or not. So these are the things which economic survey wants to know. That is the reason why the heading is said to be inequality and growth, whether it is conflict or whether it is the convergence, whether this growth is leading to the reduction in the poverty or reduction in the inequality. So we'll go through with some basics of growth and poverty. Then we'll come down to the general discussion which has been actually said by the economic survey. Now see, when India got independence in 1950, when Planning Commission of India was formed, India has adopted a theory called trickle-down theory. Trickle-down theory. So what is this trickle-down theory? India wanted to achieve some broader goals as far as the India was concerned in the 1957. So broader goals of the India was growth, equity, modernization and self-sufficiency. Now to achieve the growth, India has adopted so many policies. Now equity does mean reduction in poverty, reduction in unemployment, reduction in economic inequality. was nothing but the equity. Now, to ensure the equity in the country, India has adopted a policy called a trickle down theory. So what is this trickle down theory? Now there are two things called growth and poverty. Growth and poverty. Now India has to achieve the growth. India should also wants to achieve the reduction in poverty, reduction in economic inequality. Now to reduce the poverty, India has adopted this trickle down theory, which says that increase the growth, this will reduce the poverty. That means if there is a 2% increase in the economic growth, it may reduce around 1% of the poverty. Not exactly, I am just giving you an example. Now, if there is an increase in the 2% growth rate, this will result into reduction in the poverty. Because of that reason why, since the first 5-year plan, India has been concentrating to increase the growth rate so that the poverty will be reduced. Now, this particular economic survey says that, so by the end of third 5-year plan, India has been achieving the growth, but there has not been drastical decrease in the alleviation of the poverty. Because of this reason why, growth should be distributed among all the sections of the population equally. That was the concept which was there during fourth 5-year plan. Then in the fifth 5-year plan, the that is the Congress government has adopted a policy called Garibi Hatao, because poverty was not reduced according to the growth was increased. So in that way, growth with stability, growth with distributive justice, growth with social justice were the aspiring goals of India till 10th 5-year plan. Then in 11th 5-year plan, India has taken a theme called inclusive growth, which says that the growth should be distributed among all the sections of the population equally. Because to reduce the poverty, growth should be the forefront. Now what economic survey says that ethical wealth creation should be there. That means creation of the wealth is much important so as to decrease the inequality. But as far as the creation of the wealth is concerned, it should be ethical in nature. It should be value-based wealth so that the created wealth can be distributed among all the stakeholders of the country, because the wealth of a particular country is said to be the combined wealth of all the citizens of the country. Because of this reason why, so growth has got increased, but the poverty has not got reduced drastically. From then onwards, India has announced a policy called the inclusive growth. Then in 12th 5-year plan, India has announced something called sustainable growth. Then as far as the poverty is concerned, so what generally happens as far as the poverty is concerned, we'll see. Now as far as the poverty is concerned, if I can go through with the poverty, see here, as far as the poverty is concerned, so there is something called poverty. Poverty is actually measured by using two methods. One is absolute poverty. Then the second one is relative poverty. Absolute poverty measures the percentage of people who are below poverty line. Then relative poverty measures the inequality in any particular country. Let us see what exactly the basic difference. Now see, to measure the poverty, generally a poverty line basket is designed. So what is this poverty line basket? Poverty line basket is nothing but the minimum requirements of a particular person to lead the healthy and dignified life. Now, what are the minimum requirements? Some people say that food, shelter, clothing is more than enough to live in this particular country. But when time passes, when temporal differences occur, when geographical differences, spatial differences occur, then the minimum needs of a particular person would be changed. So according to the time, according to the place, the minimum needs would be changed. Now this poverty line basket is actually defined by various economists such as Dandekar and Rath Committee, Alag Committee, Lakdawala Committee, Suresh Tendulkar Committee, then Rangarajan Committee. All these people have constituted different kind of the poverty line basket. Now this poverty line basket is made equivalent to a particular monetary value, that is money value. Let us suppose the money value is 50 rupees per day to avail this poverty line basket. Now, based on this 50 rupees, a line is drawn, which is known as the poverty line. So what is the benchmark of the poverty line now? 50 rupees. Now, whoever does not earn at least 50 rupees per day, then those are called as the below poverty line. And whoever earns more than 50 rupees per day, they are called as the above poverty line. So accordingly, if all the people who are not at all earning at least 50 rupees per day are called as the below poverty line, if in this way, if the poverty is measured, then it is what is known as the absolute poverty. So absolute poverty is nothing but the percentage of the people who falls below poverty line. Now, according to the Suresh Tendulkar committee, so India's absolute poverty is 21.9% according to the Suresh Tendulkar committee. Now, so during the BPL is being calculated, let me take, if 50 rupees is below poverty line, then somebody will be 49, somebody will be 45, somebody will be earning 30, 25, 20, 15, 6, 15, 10, 5, 1. So like this, people will be earning the money. See, to reduce the poverty, to bring these below poverty line people into above poverty line, the government of India has introduced something called anti-poverty programs. These anti-poverty programs could only help to this range of people. That means absolute poverty measures the number of people who falls below poverty line, but it does not measure the inequality persisted among all the BPL families. And the government policy is also same towards all the people who are below poverty line. That means the policy of the government is same to the people who are earning 49 and 1 rupee. Because of this reason why only the people who are above from this particular 15 rupees can only avail the anti-poverty program and can go up to the above poverty line population. But these people are not utilizing this anti-poverty program and becoming the perennial poor people as far as the economy is concerned. That is the reason why India does not measure about the relative poverty. If inequality among the people is also measured, then it is what is known as the relative poverty. So relative poverty is measured by using top 10 percentage of the a particular country and bottom 10 percentage of the particular country. So by comparing the top 10 percentage of the people and bottom 10 percentage of the people, a country's inequality is actually measured, which is known as the relative poverty. Now, what economic survey says that India should not care about the relative poverty. India should concentrate on the absolute poverty only. India should concentrate only on the absolute poverty. By means, the increased growth has reduced some level of the poverty. That means, whenever there is an increase in the growth, it has reduced the poverty. Now, what kind of the poverty I am speaking about? Absolute poverty I am speaking about. So Indian growth has resulted into reduction in the poverty, but not resulted into reduction in the inequality. But at the same time, what economic survey suggests that higher creation of the wealth, that means high growth rate in the economy, high growth rates in the economy will reduce the poverty, that will also automatically reduce the inequality. That means higher creation of that means now the GDP growth rate is this much and this is being reducing some poverty. Now what economic survey is suggesting that increase this wealth creation, that to ethical wealth creation, and distribute this created wealth among all the sections of the population, especially marginalized sections of the population, that will reduce the inequality. This is what is being said by the economic survey. So absolute poverty should be greater concern to the India than relative poverty. Most important, this can be given as part of any particular statement. So reduction of the absolute poverty should be the greater concern to the India than relative poverty. Now, as far as the world economic scenario is concerned, as far as the world standard of measuring the poverty is concerned, the inequality in any particular country is actually measured by using the Lagrange curve. Lagrange curve. So what this Lagrange curve says, that Lagrange curve is actually measured by using the Gini coefficient. Gini coefficient. Now in any particular country, the inequality existing in a particular country is actually measured by using the Gini coefficient. So Gini coefficient varies from 0 to 1 value. If any country is near to the 0, if it is 0, then it is what is known as a perfect equality. If some country is near to 1, then it is what is known as a perfect inequality. Perfect inequality. Now, perfect inequality, both are impossible in any particular country. Now, as far as the Gini coefficient is concerned, so this is the line number 1 is what is known as the perfect equality, but there will not be perfect equality in any particular country. So now Gini coefficient is calculated is equals to A by A plus B. So this is A by A plus B is what is known as the Gini coefficient. Okay, when I discuss about the poverty, then we will be discussing about the complete details about the Gini coefficient. Now see, so this is a percentage of the people, this is the percentage of the income. So if 10% of the income generated in the economy is held by the 10% of the people, then it is what is known as the perfect equality. Okay, now if 90% of the income is held only by 20% of the people, then this is what is known as the inequality. So what economic survey is suggesting, that reduction of the inequality in absolute terms is not possible, and by looking at the advanced economies and Indian economy, instead of reducing the inequality, instead of concentrating on the inequality, just concentrate on reduction of the absolute poverty, which is possible by increasing the economic growth. Now concentrate on increasing the growth. This will reduce the absolute poverty. More the increase in the economic growth and wealth creation and the distribution of this particular wealth creation equally will also reduce the inequality, is the conclusion of this particular chapter. Okay, so this is all about the fourth idea of volume number 1 of an economic survey.